Good morning. We should be live now. It is July 5th, 2022, and 9:01 a.m. here in California. And I'll get a confirmation here. Yep, that audio is coming through. What do I got? In California here, the day after Independence Day, I've got 73 degrees and expecting a high of 92. Today's title, Windows Daily number 9, Task Manager number 6, and subtitle, Details, Services, and Searching. Tomorrow, probably, I'm going to be talking about the 4 crashes I had with Big Beast Build yesterday. Big Beast Build crashed 4 times on me. We'll get into that story tomorrow, probably. And because I believe I have it fixed. So I'll be telling the troubleshooting process that I went through and the solution. I'm going to switch over here to the Microsoft Word document and see what I want to follow up on. The green text up above I've already dealt with. So from Windows Daily number 8, swap file, hybrid file, page sys, from the chat room, from Zavi Manor, says using powerconfig /h off, delete and then delete the auto the file hibernate sys. Okay, I guess I didn't quite read that, but that is in my checklist for setting up a new computer. I don't always do that piece, but often do, and he's absolutely right. So this is done from a elevated command prompt or from PowerShell, and you type the command powerconfig /h space off, and that will disable hibernation, and then restart the computer and you can delete the file hibernate .sys. I think he's maybe implying there that it'll automatically delete, but I don't think that's the case. I'm not sure how recently I've done it. Then from Lawn Dog, okay, great. Looks like I learned something new today. Kind of interesting. UWP seems to have its own swap file to keep things moving along smoothly. And also from Lawn Dog, well, here would be my comment. There's always something new in Windows 10, 11, so finding these differences and new things is an ongoing process. From Ran Israel, so the page file is for traditional apps. Swap file is for UWP apps. Thanks for the clarification. Okay, so that covers all of this stuff, and I don't think I had any comments on the video, or at least not that I need to respond to. So put those all in green. Now come over here to monitor number 3, and what I have up on screen is Task Manager, and I want to look through some things here about the Services tab, the Details tab, and searching. I'll come up here to Microsoft Word, and right click on Microsoft Word. I can search online for what that item is. If I go to this sub item, the document that's open, there's no search function. Well, I'm not going to be able to search for something about the document itself. The point here is just right click and search online to go find something about what you're highlighting. So it automatically puts in a very effective search term to get to an authoritative search results. And let's go look at something else for that. If I come down to XSplit Broadcaster, I have it expanded right now. When it's collapsed, it looks like this. So I can right click on XSplit and search online and get information about that item, and it shows up this way. Then if I expand XSplit and look at the sub-items, there's a lot of sub-items there. If I right-click on them, I can also search them online. And here's what it gives me. It's getting very specific to this process. So these searches, that's more specific than you probably would have put in on your own. I'm going to take a quick look over here at chat and be sure everything's going okay. There's no problems indicated there. So I'm going to resume. Now, when I get to sys internals, which I think is coming up pretty soon, we get much more specific information and control of these things that are running and auto launching. So we'll be getting into this, but I want to get the basic foundation first from Task Manager. Now, if I come down into background processes, let's look at Adobe Acrobat Update Service. Again, search online, and it gives us a very specific search term, really easy to do. Coming back and right click on the child process, and that turned, oh, I didn't have my mouse all the way over there. That's why that popped up something that you didn't see. So when I search online for this child process, again, it gives me very specific. Now, then let's go on to another one. I want to get to this one, ASUS. Right click there. I've got to search online for the parent process. On here, I've got to search online for the child process. Let's now go to the other thing that I wanted to be part of this session today. Another item that's on this context menu for the parent item is we have go to details. If I right click on the child item, we have open services. Now let's go take a look a little bit about that, because this is a way for you to drill down deeper into something that's going on with your computer. Ding, ding, ding. I just remembered something. I missed something I wanted to point out up here with XSplit. These numbers in the CPU column showing what's taking how much activity. So some of these are taking more activity than others. When we get to sysinternals, a high value there is that we're going to be able to see more detail about that than what I think we can get to with Task Manager. So that's just another teaser for sysinternals. Now come back down here to this ASUS. So if I right click on the parent and then go to details, that's going to take us to this details tab up here. It takes us right to that item in details. Now when we did the search, I think it actually uses that terminology there when it does a Google search. Now if I right click here on details, it has an option to take me to services. So when I click on that, that's going to take us to the services tab for that item. And it shows it to us there. Now if I come back to processes, let's go down to that ASUS. I believe it was this one. If I right click on COM service and go straight to services, that doesn't take us to the services tab. That opens up the services control panel so that we can go find that item. Now it didn't actually highlight it, but here's ASUS COM service, right? I don't think it actually highlighted that. Try that again. Open services. Yeah, I would love it if it would actually highlight the item that we're looking at there. So if we wanted, for instance, to right click on the service and stop it, or change the properties of the service and go to the startup type, we could change it to disabled or to manual if we're trying to troubleshoot it. Now, when you're getting into this level of detail, I would prefer to have a full image backup or have a recent system restore point, or document the changes that I'm making in order to be able to go back and reverse them. I'm thinking back to the title. Did I already touch on everything that's in my title? Details, services, and searching. So yes, I did. And we're at somewhere there. It tells me how long I've been streaming. Under 10 minutes. So that's good. What else do I want to do there? Okay, so similarly as the processes tab, when you're on the details tab, there's a CPU column. You can click on that and search by CPU utilization. So look at this one at the top, 93%, 90%. Oh my gosh, what is taking so much of the CPU time? Well, it's system idle process. That means the amount of percentage time that the CPU is idle. So we like to see that number high. We can also look for memory utilization. What's being a memory hog on your computer? Well, for me, it's XSplit. All right, I expect that right now because I'm live streaming. And then UAC virtualization. We saw a little bit about UAC apps. Was that UAC apps yesterday or no, that was UWP apps, right? That we were talking about. Just going back to look at that. Yeah, UWP. So that's not the same as UAC. UAC, user account control, right? Well, I haven't even looked at that column to see what's up with that. Oh, that's telling us that UAC is disabled for those. Let's see, specifies whether user account control virtualization is enabled. Yeah, I haven't looked into that, so I should stop talking on that subject because I don't know what I'm talking about. And then in this services tab, we got a status column. So we could sort by status. We find all the status items that are running, the items that are stopped. The items that are stopped probably start and stop as needed, depending upon what you're doing with the computer at the time. So there we got services, details, users. If we had multiple users logged in right now, I'd expect we'd be seeing that. I haven't ever used this tab for anything. You can have multiple users logged onto the computer at the same time. Of course, only one user account is going to be active at any one time. The startup tab we briefly talked about earlier. We're going to in a previous session. We're going to talk about that more most likely when we get into sysinternals and the auto runs. The power of auto runs in sysinternals to disable things and find out where they're running from is wonderful. And auto runs finds a whole lot more things than what the startup tab in Task Manager does. For those of you who remember back far enough, we had msconfig with Windows 7 and earlier. And I think maybe, I'm not sure when this came to Task Manager. It might have not been the first release of Windows 10. App history, we talked about that briefly, showing the CPU time that's accumulated on a particular app over all of its stored history until you delete usage history. So if you want to get a fresh start on that, let's go ahead and do that. Delete usage history here. Am I on the right screen? I should be getting some. Oh, it did delete history. So now that zeroed out everything. So now I can start accumulating history on each of these things as I go forward. All right, I'm going to take a look at chat and about to wind this down just to see that there is activity here. I will respond to this content in tomorrow's Microsoft Word document, and I didn't bring that up on screen. Here I bring that up on screen, turn off the picture-in-picture, and I don't even have to scroll on that. It's all contained within there. So I think that'll do it for this edition of Windows Daily. I hope that was useful. Have a great day. Have a great week. Catch you later. Goodbye.